Hey friends, it's Jeff. We're doing another mistyping session, this time with Sandy from Chicago. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's good to have you. The one thing I know about you is you're doing some coaching, yeah?
I'm doing some coaching. I am a leadership and development coach, like personal development coaching, and sort of with a focus on communication and relationships.
What got you into coaching?
Yeah, so I have that experience of autoimmune disease. So I was diagnosed about 10 years ago, I guess. And there's a whole story leading up to that. But yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole of learning all that I could about Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, autoimmune disease. So I thought, I know all this stuff now. I want to share it with others. So I became a health coach, functional medicine health coach. I do not call myself a health coach anymore. Because I discovered that people just want to be told what to do in that realm. It doesn't really resonate with me. I like doing the deep inner work. But yeah, it kind of morphed into a deeper style of coaching and personal development, life coaching.
Yeah. By inner work, you mean non-physical work?
Correct. Like emotional, mental, spiritual, energetic, all that good stuff.
It's like, so you got into coaching based on physicality, but pivoted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my mentor coach. Well, I've many mentor coaches, but one of my mentor coaches, she is very deep. Calls herself soul coach, and she's sort of my inspiration for wanting to go deeper myself. So she said, "Yeah, you're better than that. You can do more with this. It's not just about the physical realm."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been good.
What are some of the strengths that you feel like you bring to your coaching? Like, what do you really do well?
So I am really good at creating space, and I know coaches do that, but I'm very good at keeping my distance. It sounds cold, but like being very unattached, objective. My clients bring a lot to sessions. That same mentor coach, she says, I make my clients cry, or I allow space for them to cry. And I find that I am able to do that as well. So I just allow that space for, whatever comes up, it's all good. And it can be a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the case that you enjoy engaging the emotional life?
I do. I
Would you
love
talk
it.
about that?
I love it. I think a lot of that stems from the fact that I was pretty clueless in terms of my own emotional world for a long time. Nothing against my parents. They did the best they could with what they had. But I grew up in the Midwest, where everything was fine. Oh no, we're fine. Everything's fine. And things weren't talked about. So it took me a long time to really understand emotions, how to process them, how to deal with them. I went through a lot of therapy, a lot of coaching myself to get to this point where I can really appreciate emotions, the messages they have. I don't know. There was a time when I was pretty obsessed with like the whole emotions aspect of coaching. I have all the books, the language of emotions, Candace Pert, like molecules of emotions. I'm sorry, Carl McLaren, language of emotions. So yeah, I appreciate and like working with emotions in my sessions and in
Wonderful.
myself. Yeah.
Right. And that's become something that's kind of not later in life, but would you say that as a kid, you didn't come across as overly emotional?
I don't think so. I don't think so. So here's another thing. With autoimmune disease comes brain fog. And I'm in my
Okay. Sure.
50s. And I'm in my 50s, and with
Okay.
menopause comes memory issues. So I experience like kind of like, did I? Do I? I don't know. So when we're thinking Enneagram, it's like, look at your whole life or your whole adult life, whatever. It's like, well, I don't remember. I
Yeah.
honestly, it's just gaps. But I don't think I was a very emotional kid. Maybe we can bring my mom on the call.
Right.
Don't. Don't.
This would be a bad move. She'll say
Yeah.
everything was fine.
Oh no, she was fine. Yeah.
Well, tell me about your family now.
My family now. Well, my parents are still alive, still in Wisconsin. My dad will be 90 in a couple weeks. Lots of health
Wow.
issues. Yeah, lots of health issues there, mobility issues. So I go up from Chicago to stay with them, take care of some things. My sister's in Madison, Wisconsin. And yeah, as far as me and my space here, I'm a crazy cat lady. Got two cats, and I used to have two motorcycles. I have one motorcycle now. But yeah, I was married for nine years, divorced for longer than that now, which is kind of weird. It's kind of the family situation. I do have a housemate who, thank God for her, because she helps a lot around the house.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's like, talk to me about motorcycles. What do you love about motorcycles?
motorcycles. So okay, so when I got divorced,
Hmm.
it was kind of like a trifecta of um, up to the time I got divorced, infertility, which I don't wish on anyone. It was devastating. I went through pretty deep depression during that time. It was 3 or 4 years. I we got
May,
divorced. Yeah, go ahead.
may I clarify real quick? Were you struggling? That was so when you were married. The
Yeah,
infertility was an issue that you were struggling with, and
correct.
it had emotional effect on you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It sent me into a pretty deep depression. For the women out there listening who have gone through infertility, fertility treatments, it sucks. It sucks. It's devastating. And yeah, around the same time, I was diagnosed with autoimmune disease, which kind of, explains the infertility. My hormones were kind of out of whack.
Mm.
And as a result of all of that, my partner and I grew apart, got divorced. In the midst of that, so I'm a classical musician as well. I play the French horn. And I know you just had an opera singer
Ooh,
on. So yeah,
come
classical
on,
music.
right?
So that's my
The
first love, classical music.
French horn, classically the most difficult instrument I've heard to
It
learn and
can be, yeah.
master.
It can be. I have a love-hate relationship with that thing. Yeah, her name's Connie. She's a big old cow. She's a good girl, but it's been interesting relationship with that horn. But that's my
Okay.
first love. I studied music at the Curtis Institute, and I I mean, I know you asked about the motorcycle. I'm getting there. Um, but I had a terrible time at at the music conservatory. I had a very verbally and emotionally abusive professor, which I think may be the cause of my autoimmune issues. I don't know. We'll never know, but that might be the root cause. All that stress I was under. But I graduated, and then I put the horn away for 4 years. My now ex-husband called me up after 4 years and said, "Hey, there's this gig in Florida, Sarasota Opera. Do you want to play?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not playing." He said, "No, no, just send in a tape." So this is like, cassette tape days. So I sent in an audition, started playing with Sarasota Opera, completed my 25th season this past winter. It's a winter festival in Florida. So we go down with the
Hmm.
snowbirds. And during that time, this is like the infertility years. And it was, the opera was, it's like my second home, my second family. So it was a great escape from being at home with my then husband and all this infertility crap. Anyway, in Florida, there was a viola player who had a motorcycle, and he was giving everyone rides. And he said, "Do you want to ride?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And for the first time in like 3 or 4 years, I did not think about the infertility issue because I
Hmm.
was scared for my life on the back of that bike. But anyway, all that to say is to say, like, I knew I needed a motorcycle, and I got my M class license, got a motorcycle when I was 40 years old, learned how to ride. And it was just a release. It's very meditative. It still is to this day very meditative. You have to pay attention, otherwise, you could literally die. So it really took me out of that world of, anxiety and worry about the whole infertility situation. So that's why I ride. Highly
That's why
recommend.
that's why I ski, and that's
There
why
you
I go
go.
really, really, really fast.
You get it.
And
You get it. And the motorcycle I have now, I got it
yeah.
because I took it for a test ride.
Hmm.
And the guy was like, "Yeah, take it out on the freeway and the highways." And I did. And there was a lot of traffic. And I was like, "Well, screw this." And I looked down, I was going 110.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's fun.
Yeah. That
It's my bike."
wasn't what I expected. That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
it's
Have
a lot of
Have
fun.
you seen Have you seen F1 yet by chance?
I have
It's a
not.
Brad Pitt movie. It's
I have not.
just on these fronts. As a total aside, it's worth picking up
Okay. Check it out.
for these reasons. What is that called? Well, it's an F1 movie. It's a
Mm,
car racing movie. But
yeah. Okay.
anyway, the do you in terms of, to circle back just to infertility, if you want to speak about this
Mm.
for a second, and we don't have to go down too far, but did do you have trouble trusting your body at all out of this, or do you have more expectations that your body should be able to do things that it's not doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think most women, myself included, when it comes to infertility, there's this sense that something was wrong, that your body let you down. I must say, like emotions, I never really thought about my body much. I never really thought about a lot of things much.
Hmm.
Um, but there was that sense like something's wrong with me. My body doesn't work. What did I do? What did I do wrong? Yeah, those were the things I was experiencing. And I think that's common for most women with infertility issues.
Yeah. Does the phrase "what did I do wrong" pop up for you anywhere else in your world?
Not anymore. I feel like during that time in my life, it was definitely the theme of what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? I think also looking back on the time I spent at Curtis at the music conservatory, it was an awful time. So there was a lot of like, what am I doing? Can I do it better? Why doesn't my teacher like what I'm playing? Why, so there's a lot of questioning my choices. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it the case that you are you able to see how well you execute your performances, and do you have a high esteem for your own execution of music?
I do. I do. And again, with the autoimmune issues now, it's become challenging to play at the level that I want to play.
Sure.
Muscle weakness, air hunger, and anxiety that kind of has been coming up with the music. Those are not conducive to playing how I want to play.
Hmm.
But I have to say, before going into music school, I was pretty clueless. I was good. I had talent. I played well. So I just showed up, won this audition, got into school. Yeah, and then things kind of went downhill from there.
It's well said. You brought up your own understanding of engaging your body and your emotions. Does it feel like you're observing your body, or does it feel like you are your body?
I feel like I am my body now. What is it? It's 2025. Yeah, past 10 years or so, just going through therapy, having some really good therapists, really good coaches,
Hmm.
doing body work, yoga, breath work has been really helpful. What was the question?
Do you feel like naturally you're observing your body, or do you feel like you are your body?
I'm not sure. And maybe that's your answer.
That could be.
Yeah, I feel like it takes a lot for me to really like focus on my body. And when I do, it's great.
Hmm.
Like yoga. And I have the bad habit of listening to podcasts. Somebody's
Well, there's
podcast.
so many great
There's
ones out
so many
there. I mean,
great ones out there, Jeff. I catch myself. I'm like, I don't need to listen to a podcast, and just focus on the body. And that's been really helpful. So, so here's another thing. After I went to music school in Philadelphia, I moved to New York for 10 years. I stopped playing the horn, didn't do anything with music. I waited a lot of tables. I did some modeling, did some acting, and I fell into hand modeling. So I'm also a hand
hmm
model.
hmm
And so that helped me become very aware of my body in space, especially my hands.
Hmm.
And yeah, but I honestly, I don't know, like I said, like emotions, didn't really think much about my body until maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah. Can you name some of the places that you experience your most confidence?
That's a great question. Well, I feel like it's when, and I'm trying not to answer that would, give away my type or what I think my type is, but when I'm in a space where I can speak confidently about something,
Hmm.
for example, coaching,
Hmm.
motorcycles to a point, cats to a point. My dad was a veterinarian, so I know all about the cats. Birding, I'm an avid birder, bird watcher. I love talking to birds, talking about the birds, gardening, butterflies, insects. Like there's a lot of things I know a little bit about. And if someone can meet me in that space, that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. And I feel confident and also curious. I think there's like a curiosity that comes with being confident. It's like I don't know everything. And so when I'm talking with someone or hanging out with someone and having a really good deep conversation, I feel confident enough to say like, "Hey, I don't know that. Like tell me more." And I love being in that space of learning.
You don't seem like the sort of person that denies some of the negative emotions, like the places of sadness or pain. Were you ever that person? Like when you were young, was that part of your personality? Or are you comfortable once you understand your emotions speaking about them in when it's appropriate?
Yeah, I would say now I am very comfortable with all the emotions. And again, tying that back to 10 years ago, therapy, coaching, ongoing coaching. As a kid, as a teenager in my 20s, I was clueless. Didn't really think about emotions, didn't really consider emotions. I would say I was pretty uncomfortable with all of the negative emotions, but now it's like I I welcome all the things. It's all good. And I'm okay talking about them. Yeah. But those first few sessions in therapy it was like, "Meh, I don't know."
Yeah.
It was hard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But
Is
now
it
I
the
have the
case that
language and everything. Yeah, go ahead.
is it the case that in your coaching, do you feel like you have a tendency to want to make the person in front of you happy?
No. No, not at all. Not at all. I this is a pet peeve of mine. My mentor coach calls them positivity bullies.
Yeah.
And
Talk about that.
I'm just yeah, well, it's just and a lot of new coaches do this because maybe they think I'm a mentor coach too, so I work with a lot of brand new coaches.
Hmm.
And new coaches, they're trained in positive psychology, and it's not the point to like make everything happy. That's not what positive psychology does or is meant to do. But we are trained to focus more on the positive, and there's a place for that, and there's a place for everything. And so I pride myself on holding space for the negative emotions, the grief, the sadness. There is so much grief in this world, Jeff. I can't even tell you.
I've
And
heard.
I mean, there's so much loss, and with loss comes grief. And there's no space to express that, especially here in the States,
Yeah.
because, we're such a forward moving country. So people come into my coaching room, my coaching space, and yeah, I pride myself on that ability just to let whatever come out. There's one question that coaches are kind of taught to ask at the top of the session. It's like, well, what's one thing that went well for you this past week?
Sure.
Hate that question. I
Uh,
hate it. So another mentor coach is like, instead of that, I ask, is there anything you want to express? Is there anything you want to
mhm.
share before we get started? So it just leaves room for the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things, because maybe their cat died, maybe
Yeah.
maybe there's a cancer diagnosis, and so to push them into like what went well, it's not ethical. I don't think.
That's well said. If you had a preference between being able to speak confidently and being able to speak authentically, is there one that you gravitate towards more?
Hmm. I think both are really important. I think both are really important. Yeah. But I will say, speaking, since we're going there, speaking and the voice, again, not something I thought about until recently. And now it's been sort of a journey to find my voice. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but
Actually,
yeah.
I would love to build on that phrase. Journey to find your voice is a big phrase.
Hmm.
Can you, can you talk about that?
Sure. I think it goes back to infertility, divorce, autoimmune disease, and that really was sort of a dark night of the senses for me, like
Hmm.
rock bottom, and having to rebuild from this dream of wanting to be a mother, assuming I'd be a mother, assuming I'd have children, and just, okay, that dream's over. And I didn't
Hmm.
want to do it on my own. So after the divorce, it's like, eh, who am I if I'm not a mother? I mean, that was a core belief right there. Like, I need to be a mother in order to be someone. So, it, like, finding my voice is like, who am I? What do I want to do with my life if I'm not going to be a mother? How do I express that? Yeah, there's a lot tied up in that.
You're hitting on two things that are really important to me in terms of that I do not necessarily have insight into. And one is how gender differences can be a huge part of typing, even if we want to say that gender differences are sometimes not valuable. But all of us have lived experiences in an embodied world with social expectations and expectations for ourselves and our own desires. When there's that, and then there's who am I if not for this, and that's an identity statement.
Hmm.
What have you discovered can fill that identity statement? Who am I? Like what are you putting into that space?
Mm. There's the philosophy teacher.
There's a
We're getting deep here at 10:30 a.m.
that's right.
It's all good.
I would offer you a drink or something if we were.
Bar's right over there. It's funny. And I'll get to your question in a second. I used to have my table facing 90 degrees, and
Right, right.
my housemate makes amazing cocktails, and
Yeah.
she didn't have room in her space, so we just have them in the built-in. All of these, all this booze, and
Yes.
I work with people in recovery.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed out, they're like, "You have a lot of booze back there." I was like,
Right.
"Oh, I'm going to
Are
turn
they
the
coming to your
table."
house, or are they, or
No,
it was you're
it's
working
all
on the screen?
virtual. So I'm like,
Right.
"Okay, I'm
Gotcha.
gonna I'm gonna change my setup here. We got a nice little paint. We got some birds. We got some. Okay, no more booze."
Need
Um,
somebody to be assertive on that front. That's funny.
exactly. Yeah. So, what was the question? Who am I?
Well, yeah, I mean, so I did phrase it philosophically. So let me say it in a different way. When looking for the things that you feel like bring you value, like where do you feel most valuable, and where you really put your thumb on this is who I am and even what I'm made for. Are you able to bring language to that?
Probably not, but I'll tell you what comes to mind. I'm just going to assume you're a Simpsons fan. You watch The Simpsons?
I am kid of
So
the '90s. Come on.
yeah, so there's one episode where I think it's Dustin Hoffman plays a substitute teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and Lisa
Mm-hmm.
Simpson's kind of, enamored with him. And she says, "But who am I?" At the end, like he's getting on a train and leaving. She's like, "But who am I?" And he hands her this piece of paper and it says, "You are Lisa Simpson."
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I hear that question, like, who are you? What, it's like, well, I am Sandy Swanson.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean? I'm not sure, but I'm I mean, if we talk about the purpose of life, I believe everyone's purpose is to help someone, help others, helping. That's a very Enneagram 2 thing to say, but I believe that's our purpose, to help and support others. Maybe it's music, entertainment, maybe it's coaching, maybe it's hosting a fabulous podcast, teaching. But I feel like I've found my voice as a coach and my purpose in helping others sort of figure out who they are and what their strengths are.
Do you find that you have an ability to see other people's emotions at all?
I do now, I think. Yeah.
Took some training, would you say?
Yeah. Yeah. That
Okay.
mentor coach I keep referring to, we'd be in classes with her and we'd be coaching in the group and she'd stop and she'd be like, okay, did you see that? And we're all
Hmm.
like, what? What happened? She's like, there's so much grief. Like, really? And now I see it. It's like, oh, like you see the energy, you see just the subtle body cues,
Yeah.
change in tone of voice. Yeah.
Do you find that you are self forgetful or even self negligent at times?
No, I don't think so.
Dad's a vet. You're growing up with a lot of animals.
Hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I mean, did you all
a lot of cats.
a lot of cats at the house?
Oh yeah.
I suppose in my head, I immediately had a vision of you growing up on something like a farm. But is that correct? Did you grow
Well,
up in
yeah. Well, both my
rural?
parents grew up on farms
Uh-huh.
in Wisconsin. My dad was from Chicago. His dad, my grandfather, retired early and literally bought a farm in southeastern Wisconsin. My mom from the western part of the state.
Yeah.
So I mean, self-sustaining dairy farms. Um,
Uh-huh.
I don't think my mom had indoor plumbing. She was the first of her family to actually graduate from college. So yeah, a lot of that in our family. But we grew up in a suburb outside of Milwaukee, so no farm animals, just lots of cats, lots and lots of
Yeah.
cats.
Bing. Do you have like an explicit kind of relationship with nature that you would say? Like a is that something that's a priority for you?
I'd say it's important now. As kids, we were, I'm a Gen Xer, so we weren't allowed in the house.
Hmm.
We drank out of the hose, people. It's true.
It
We
is
did,
true.
and it was good water. Um, Fantastic Wisconsin well water. But yeah, spent a lot of time outside, a lot of time in nature. Again, never really thought about it, but it is important.
Yeah.
I raise butterflies now. I do monarchs and painted ladies, American ladies, black swallowtails. So I'm interested in. I do a lot of citizen science research when it comes to the monarch butterfly. So there's that connection. It's kind of a nerdy connection.
Yeah.
My sister's actually a botanist, so there's that. She's the super nerdy one in the family. I think she'd own that. But yeah, I mean, getting outside, getting in nature has become very, very important to me.
Mm.
Just in terms of like grounding, like even if it's a beautiful day in between coaching sessions, I'll go out barefoot, just do a lap in my bare feet just to ground. Yeah.
Perfect. Around this time, around 30 minutes in, like I try to avoid as much Enneagram speak as I can, but then we pivot and kind of
Mhm.
like obviously you're a coach. Obviously you do so you may even use this material and you listen to the podcast. So I imagine you have some experience and vocabulary here. So I'm going to start asking a little bit more explicit questions that you may know where I'm going, but this could
Okay.
be helpful as well. But just to jump in, do you end up ever struggling to find meaning in the world? Is that something that you would say is
Yeah.
more likely true?
Yeah, I think in the past I would have categorized that as a struggle, and now I definitely still aspire to, finding meaning. I don't consider it a struggle. It's more of a curiosity, gonna pull that word in, but just
Yep.
yeah, but meaning is important to me.
When things are going badly in relationships, do you find that you shut down your emotions?
I used to.
Yeah.
And then my partner or whoever would be like, and then I'd start baking. I used to bake a lot before changing my diet and going gluten free. I used to bake a ton. I used to like do all sorts of artsy fartsy things with the baking. But
Hmm.
I'd start baking if something was wrong, and whoever I was dating come in and be like, "Okay, what's wrong? You're baking. What's like? Talk to me. What is going on?" So yeah, there's a little of that, and again, thank God for therapy and coaching to really help me with vocabulary for expressing myself.
Do you know why you start baking?
Why I would start baking?
Yeah.
Because I mean, the answers that is coming forward is avoiding conflict.
Yeah.
Um, Also, and it wasn't even about. I don't think it was about even the other person. I think it was just like I didn't know how to express myself. So I'm just going to go away and maybe it'll be okay when I come back. Yeah, the 20s were fun that way. My 20s, not the 1920s. I'm not that old.
No, gotcha. Can you talk a little bit about being aware that you're unable to express yourself?
Yeah, I think it goes back to not having the vocabulary, not having, the Midwest, everything's fine, and just kind of
Hmm.
glossing over everything. So that's kind of what I was taught. Well, I wasn't taught anything really. And again, nothing against my parents, but it was just, and there was that, Midwest, maybe avoidance of negative emotions, negative feelings, and just kind of moving forward. So yeah, thank you to Deb, my therapist, for really helping me learn that language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In relationships that you treasure and value, what are some of the gifts that you really bring to the people that you care about?
The gifts that I bring.
Yeah.
Well, I think as a kid and again through my 20s, it'd be kind of funny, kind of just kind of fun, just kind of fun. I think now I've learned how to listen. So there's this ability, and thank God for coaching skills. There's this ability to listen, and now an ability to hold space. Again, coaching skills. Hold space for whatever comes up with the person I'm with. And I try not to coach my friends, but the coaching skills, they seep into all parts of your life. And just to be able to, I don't know, holding space, just I keep coming back to that.
What I'm hearing is that you have these spaces. You are pulling a lot out of the person in front of you. When you
I would
begin to
I would
speak,
I would say I'm not pulling it out. They're just offering
okay,
it. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and that works as well.
Yeah.
So the space, this are you saying that you think the space is doing a lot of the work?
Yeah. Yeah. Just offering that silence.
The only reason I'm going down this, do you feel like you matter in that space?
I do, and it is frustrating because I listen, this is my job
Hmm.
as a coach,
Yeah.
and I need to express myself as well, which is also why I really appreciate this space that you're holding for me. Being able to tell my story and share my thoughts is important, and I don't get to do that in my coaching sessions. And
Hmm.
even when my housemate, I love her, when she comes home, she needs to unload after work. She needs to vent. And I just sometimes I can't. And she knows this.
Sure.
We have a signal, the door's closed. That means Sandy needs to just veg out and watch her stories. But there are times where I don't offer that space, and I very consciously, shift the conversation because I feel myself. I stop listening. I go away. I'm like, okay, we need to we need to not talk about something deep. Lighten it up, or listen to me, which I do have several people in my life that listen to me. So
What are the things that you feel like you in those moments? What's most important for you to communicate?
it's another great question. I mean, on the surface, it's just everyday minutia. Sometimes I just need to get it all out. Sometimes there are deeper things going on that I kind of want to bounce off someone or just want someone to listen. You know, my parents, they're aging. There's a lot of stress there.
Hmm.
So being able to talk out those things, those feelings, those emotions, that's important.
In terms of your door being closed, are you really aware of your energy level?
I am now, and this is one of the confusing things because with the autoimmune disease
Hmm.
comes energy issues. So I'll experience fatigue. I'll experience the need for many naps. That said, I really have, and again, I'm in my 50s, so maybe I'm just like, screw the world. I'm just going to be a hermit. I love my privacy. I love my alone time. The pandemic was a breeze. It it literally didn't phase me one iota. I was like, I'm doing what I always do. I'm here in front of my computer coaching.
Right?
There will be weeks when like I, I hate saying this, but literally weeks where I don't talk to anyone unless they're a coaching client or my housemate. And I'm okay with that. And that's not
Hmm.
healthy, but yeah. We're working on that. I'm working on that. And again, I don't know if that's my age, if it's the autoimmune issues, I protect my space, I protect everything I eat, or if, but that all said, it's been real easy to slide into this space of just being on my own. It's very comfortable.
Talk about protecting everything you eat.
Yeah, so I'm on a specific diet. I was on a very, very regimented diet for a couple of years, the autoimmune protocol, where you eliminate all the potentially inflammatory foods and then you slowly reintroduce them. Learned a lot from that process, but I'm still like, I don't eat gluten. I try to avoid dairy. There's things I don't eat. So I spend a lot of money on food. I spend a lot of time making meals. And yeah, it's there's a lot of financial stuff tied up in this too, and financial scarcity mindset. But like, I paid a lot of money for that food. That food is mine. I'm gonna eat it. If I'm feeling good, I will share it. But there is that quality of like protecting food, and it didn't always used to be that way. I used to eat everything. I used to clean up everyone's dessert plates at dinner. Be like looking all the plates, like, hand that over. You gonna finish that? You gonna eat that? I like that.
Thank-
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into this, Zanny. I have lots of thoughts, but I would love to hear as you come to this conversation, kind of what's in your mind in terms of mistyping.
What's on my mind is that, so when I first learned of the Enneagram, it was in college about 30 years ago. I got the book What's My Type? I don't know if
Come
you know it.
on,
What's My
I
Type?
do. Is that
Yeah.
a what's a
Kathleen Hurley Dodson.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Hurley and Dobson. She's
Yeah.
from she's from Colorado of all things.
Ah, cool. Cool,
Anyway,
cool.
I like that.
So yeah, I was obsessed with that book for about a year, and I like to say if I had stuck with the Enneagram, I would have saved a lot of money on therapy and coaching, but I didn't. So here we are.
Hear that, friends?
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. So now I had a really good therapist. Well, let me backtrack. So one of my mentor coaches,
Hmm.
I talk about my mentor coaches a lot, but one of them was all about getting into the heart and feeling the heart, and you're not connected to your heart, and where's your heart? And this really affected me. And okay, so here we go. I felt a little deficient. Like,
Hmm.
what's wrong with me? I'm not connected with my heart. It, is so that was confusing. And then I had a therapist who was doing somasoul therapy. I don't know if you're familiar with somasoul. It's a
Mm-mm.
fantastic modality where you draw, you move your body, which for me. It's very good moving my body. And I brought up this topic of like feeling deficient because maybe I wasn't connected to my heart space or I didn't know what my heart wanted. And she was like, "Have you heard of the Enneagram?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, I mean, like 30 years ago." But she said, maybe you lead with the head or the gut,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that's okay. And so I got back into it about 5 years ago. I have since, this might be a giveaway, I've since read all the books, listened to all the podcasts, taken all the courses, and taken all the quizzes and assessments too, which it always comes up as five. And there's always some 4 and 9 in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I get a little stuck because I have that experience of autoimmune disease. I have since the divorce, 10 or so years ago, I have retreated. I have withdrawn to conserve money, to conserve my health, finances, all of that. So there's a lot of withdrawing for sure. Is it because of the health issues? Is that how I really am? Do I lead with five? Is it 4? 9 comes up. I don't think I'm others referenced at all. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jeff?
Well, just so happens that those were the numbers on my mind.
All right.
There is a lot of the stuff that you're saying about your emotional life. Here would be my take. A lot of the stuff you're saying about your emotional life feels like it's a new city you moved into, as opposed to a four who's indigenous. And so
I like
I,
that. I love that. Indigenous. And I'm a
I,
non-native,
non-native going into these
non-native
spaces,
speaker. Yep, yep.
real important for fours, fives, and nines. None of these types are repressing their emotions.
Hmm.
These are all going to be fours are going to be in the heart center, fives and nines are going to experience their emotions in a different kind of way. But fives, it's the emotions are a support center. It's all three of these types are action, have struggles with doing productive action. The thing about fours, fives, and nines is they're not feeling repressed, they're action repressed. And one of the things that I see a lot in your language is just you do have a very active element to your life, and you are engaging your physical self in ways that strike me as very healthy. It seems like you're seeking to balance there. So fours, fives, and nines are all going to have that in common.
Yeah.
The thing that would take four off the table for me is that it sounds like your emotions are a space that you are needing to enter, choosing to enter, even having to learn how to enter. And so that would be just interesting to me. As you said, kind of on the backside here, there was a lot on the backside here that moves towards fiveness. And our entire conversation, I've just been circling fiveness for the most part. But when talking about what you eat, the first thing you said is that you learned about the process and that the sorts of things that you're purchasing for your diet, the thing that's coming through to your mind is that there's a financial scarcity mindset that comes in. Both those are really important to name in terms of motive. And Enneagram, dear friends, is all about motive. And so, like, when coming to the world, what is it that actually is propelling me in one direction or another? Those are just some buzzwords that are they're hitting me. The idea of not being connected to my heart is probably not something that you're going to hear from fours. And so I'm going to just consistently kind of lean back into five and nines as something to kind of circle. I can see a nine actually reading all the books and taking all the quizzes. I can see a nine saying that they need to withdraw. I can see a nine actually creating spaces for others to speak as their primary vocation. I can see nines loving privacy and alone time. I can see some nines absolutely will research and engage their heads. There's an idea that's going to come out or has been coming out slowly called processing center. And it's kind of this, it's putting fives, sevens, and nines in a similar camp in which they are assessing whether or not they feel good in the world based on what they're thinking about. And those are the sorts of things I heard quite a bit in your language, but it would be common in nines. So you had talked about wanting to avoid conflict and being unable to express yourself. That also could be nine-ish. I'm kind of elevating the nine here, not because I think you're a nine, but I do want to elevate. It's worth naming the two and just seeing how things play out here, because there is quite a bit of nine qualities as well. I think nines can struggle with anxiety in a way that fives do as well. Their relationship with anxiety is going to be slightly different because the nine is moving into stress and probably experiencing more of the anxiety in a stress oriented space, where fives might have more of that underlying feeling of anxiety and fear just kind of as a normal. Throughout this time, I feel like you've done quite a bit to talk about. I think I wrote this down and you didn't say it, but the way that you talk about your body, it has felt like it's been observational in nature. That you're an observer of your body.
I will say that that's taken a lot of work to get into my body, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and that would be common for both fives and nines, who are again going to be struggle with doing productive action. The difference, a big difference, is that nines naturally take in the world through their physical self and are very aware of their physical self
Right.
and pivot off of it. Whereas fives are not that way. Fives are going to take in the world through their head center. Their
Yeah.
intelligence center is going to be very mental.
Yeah.
Getting into the body is going to be distant. Go ahead.
So here's a question for you: the body types. I wish TJ was here too, but
Mhm.
like when I'm watching a movie, a show, and maybe this happens for everyone, when somebody falls or some someone trips, someone falls, like I feel that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, does everyone feel
You're
that?
empathetic. Yeah.
No, like I feel it. Like I feel it. They fall on their sits bone. It's like I feel it. It's
Mm.
it's very jarring. And again, maybe everyone feels that when they're watching a movie or something. But that's been interesting to me.
Yeah. That is
And
interesting.
yeah,
I mean, I think it's the case with your own experience of your physicality and pain. When seeing others in pain, especially
Mhm.
physically, I could see it being the case that there's just kind of an emotional,
That's a good point.
empathetic reaction.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy that.
Um, I don't feel that physically. I feel that emotionally though. When I see other people
Mm.
who specifically are doing things that are embarrassing in public, I feel like really, I feel that inside. I can't
Mm.
watch like The Office. Makes me feel super uncomfortable.
Yeah, same.
Uh, I can't see a nine calling out the positivity bullies.
That's a good
That's
point.
not a very nine thing to do. But unless it were the case that it was coming from kind of a self-critical standpoint, that they realize something inside of themselves and are saying to themselves, "Man, I do this." um, but even the hating what went well, that's a that was something that stood out to me.
Mm.
Last, I think the French horn is interesting because it's a difficult instrument. And I don't know that nines pick up the thing that is the most difficult thing to understand in the musical world.
Well, do you want
I
to
could be proven wrong, but
do you want to hear why I chose that instrument, Jeff?
tell me.
Because when we were kids, my sister and I, we have a babysitter every Saturday night. My parents went into the city to watch the show or whatever, and one of our babysitters played the French horn, and I thought it looked pretty.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And that's why I play the French. That is the only reason why I picked that instrument when fifth grade rolled
However,
around.
you also stuck with the French horn.
Well, so This is also just, I think, being a clueless kid and like, "Oh, well, I'm playing it and I play pretty well
Uh-huh.
and I'm good, so I'll just keep playing," not really thinking about anything else.
Hmm.
So just kinda going with the flow there.
Going with the flow, drifting
Yeah.
with the French horn.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I it stands. I mean, if you're able to I mean, in terms of the United States of America and music programs, if you raise to the spot where you're elite with the most difficult instrument, in orchestra to play, that says something. It may be the case that you're drifting, but it does say something.
Well, I don't think I got to that point, but
Okay.
I did get accepted into really good music school,
Yeah.
so
I
there's
mean, you're
that.
in a music school and you're getting paid for performance. Yeah. At some
Paid for
point,
that one gig a year now, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's something. It's something.
I'm
And it's
not
in
getting paid for music. I was a professional musician for a while and did not getting
Oh,
paid
no.
anymore. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, just, where was I gonna go with that? Just thinking, bringing the body into it, like
Mm-hmm.
like being a musician, especially brass or, well, any instrument, but there's a physicality to it,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and I was never really taught any of that. The teacher I had in high school was just like, "Here's some beautiful music, play it." And I'm like, "Okay," and I played it. I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
So now that I'm more into my body, and in my head about it, it's been very interesting to practice from this new perspective of like, "Oh, my body's doing this, my lips are doing this, like my tongue, my mouth is doing this."
Yeah.
It's been interesting, like bringing the body into it. Like, what about that? Yeah.
I think that this actually demonstrates something that's really valuable to talk about is that it feels like you're getting into your body when you're competent. And that's going
Okay,
to be a
yeah,
huge tell.
I'd buy that.
And
I'd
that's
buy
going to
that.
be with your motorcycle riding,
Uh-huh.
with your music playing, which you described in very physical terms, the struggles that you've had with continuing to do French horn
Mhm.
didn't come out as a it came out as my body is not able to necessarily execute the way that I know I can,
Mhm.
way of talking about it. And that's just, I think that's important. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. A lot of your vocation strikes me as you're setting up spaces where you can observe people. And it may be the case that you're creating spaces for them to feel like they're understood, known, bringing peace to their worlds. I get the sense that you actually have a bug in you that is really interested in the person in front of you
Mhm.
and want to engage your knowledge and want to be able to showcase your knowledge of them after you observe them for a bit is
Mhm.
that's entirely intuitional,
I'd
but
buy
that
that.
was my sense of how you're talking about your vocation.
I'd agree. I'd agree. In a first session with a client, and a lot of this is learned, but it's also an easy space for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can pick up on that energy and those cues and sort of reflect it back and really share what I see. And again, what a lot of people don't see. Not that they can't see it, but I don't think our culture allows time or space for that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned being an
Mm.
observer, so I am a bird watcher, so there's that. I'm a creeper. I'm the crazy lady with the cats and the binoculars creeping around your neighborhood.
Binoculars are a very observational tool to
Right?
mention.
Well, I'm a
Speaking of,
photographer. I'm a photographer as well. So
also an observational, I'm
yeah,
separate
so
yet observing kind of
yeah,
tool.
right. So before the pandemic, after my divorce, before the pandemic, before I fully became like full-time coach, I was doing headshot and portrait photography. And man, I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to help, again, helping people, showcase their best physical self,
Mm-hmm.
bringing the modeling into it. I know how to pose people. I know lighting, but yeah, I'm comfortable in front of the camera, but I really like being behind the camera for sure. Yeah.
And that, like, I could see a nine saying that as well. Yeah, I suppose it. What I'd love to do is pivot over to the book for a second, but just a name that I think that shows that we're in the right vicinity, as it were, for those reasons. Like, you're still engaging the world. Know that engaging the world matters.
Sometimes.
Fair.
I like I said, I like my sandy time. I like my downtime. I really like my alone time.
Yeah.
And it didn't
Yeah.
always used to be that way. I'm still on Facebook, I admit it. And they have those memories on this day, whatever they call
Hmm.
it. And there are some memories that come up where it's like, went to the farmer's market with my husband, and then we had brunch with our friends, and then we went home and gardened for 2 hours, and we had cocktails, we had dinner, and all this stuff. And it's like, who was that? Because I don't have energy for that now.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah. And maybe I just wasn't aware of it. I was just, because everyone else was doing it, I just kind of went along with the flow.
Yeah.
But now I think about that, I'm like, oof, man, that's a lot of peopling. It's a lot of peopling, a lot of activity.
Being aware of your energy as a resource versus being aware of your energy as something that's being kind of assaulted by others in a am I able to keep the harmony way? Those are sound similar as I'm saying it, but there's a slight nuance there that might just be worth naming. I think that we'll get into that in this list of all
Okay.
things. The 5-9 list. We have 30 some odd lists of in our mistyping chart at the back of Around the Circle, and it's only in the print version. But the 5-9 list was the hardest one for me to create.
Hmm.
I spent way too much time on this list, so I'm thrilled we get to use it in part.
Excellent.
But but as I come to types and which ones are closest in language, it's fives and nines,
Okay.
and so we'll see if anything kind of pops for that. So, but going down the mistyping chart in the back, fives often want clarity, nines often want to preserve calm. Do you have a preference?
Clarity.
Fives often fear being depleted. Nines often fear disconnection.
I'd say now with the health issues, it's depleted. What was the 9 one? Disconnection.
Disconnection.
I think, 10 years ago and prior, it was probably disconnection. So maybe a little of both.
Five,
Yeah.
right? Fives often avoid intrusion. Nines often avoid conflict.
Now, intrusion, definitely.
Fives often want to be left alone. Nines often want to be included.
I think I used to want to be included. And now I want to be left alone. Just leave me alone. Who said that? Who was that actress?
When
Wasn't
you said it, I thought
Greta,
that sounds like Dracula,
Greta Garbo, or
but
I want to be alone. I don't know. Yeah, it did sound like Dracula. Good ear. There's a musician's ear for you. Yeah.
fives often conserve emotions. Nines often soften their emotions.
My gut reaction is soften,
Mm,
because I
talk
don't
about that.
know. Yeah, like I feel emotions. And again, maybe this is the coaching skills, but I kind of reel it in, take some time, before I will react or respond. Soften emotions, conserve, maybe a little of both.
Bing.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, dear listener, when you go down the mistyping chart, this is exactly what should happen is both types should have some things that you kind of relate to. And so working through the specific languages, especially with people that care about you or know you, can be very, very valuable in terms of like just talking around the issue. And it's a good place to connect with other people too. So fives often see future threats. Nines often ignore future threats.
Oh, I see him. I
Yeah.
see him. I see him from a mile away.
Fives often expect to remain at arm's length. Nines often merge.
Yeah, I don't think I merge. I think arm's length is pretty good. Yeah.
The relational dynamics that I'm watching in my child are real interesting because my kid, who's a five, just moved to Michigan 2 weeks ago. The
How old
They
is this child?
18,
Oh, okay.
19. How old are they?
Wow.
2006?
Okay.
19. They just turned 19 then. And they, I think it really hit them unconsciously how much disconnecting from their friendships, from their parents, from their girlfriend that they were had been dating for a while really affected them. And I think like it really hit them hard, and then they moved as fast as they could away from a lot of those emotions and replace them fast with other relationships has been kind of their posture. And the reason I bring that up ends up being that like how fives and nines do relationships, I think is real interesting and worthy of naming. That the fear of nines and disconnecting from others is real heavy. The seeing, I don't think fives see other people as assets or resources, but when there's a lack of relationships in the life of a five, that emptiness is the thing I think that really hits the five. And anyway,
I would agree. Yeah.
I'm kind of spinning out here. But
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
perfect.
No,
If you
yeah,
hear
it
something in there
resonates.
worth
Definitely resonates. Yeah. Yeah.
fives are going to analyze their stress. Nines are going to soften their stress.
Analyze over and over and over again.
I wanted to try and find something on. I bet this is off of the list now. If I were to rewrite the list, I'd really emphasize stress and security moves more.
Yeah.
But where fives in stress are gonna move into spaces where they start like looking for any options, nines in stress are gonna get really fearful about what's out there. Do either of those hit you more?
I think recently it's been getting more fearful, although, and previously, talking about my Facebook memories and all the things, that's like I read those lists of things I did, 15 years ago, whatever. And that feels, I don't know if I was stressed out at the time, but it feels chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see both moves at different points in my life.
Chaotic's a good word there.
Yeah. And by the way, my current partner,
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's in Colorado. He's in the Springs. So if you see him, say
Oh,
hi. Tell him I
very
says
cool.
hi. But I believe he's a seven with a seven wing. Let's just say he's very 70.
Sure, 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 sure.
So, just
You can
thinking about,
see
yeah.
some of that behavior in yourself.
Well, just thinking about, 20 years ago, whatever, and a little more chaotic doing all the things brunch, cocktails, gardening, farmers market, like kind of bouncing all
In
over the place.
Yeah, it would be worth naming, and this is a healthy exercise for fives in terms of naming the high side and low side of that stress move and saying where, like, there is the replenishment side for the five of moving from the interior focus to a strong exterior focus that does have a lot more momentum and a lot more variety and energy and outward sense of all the possibilities that I assume would be quite can be replenishing and at some level just getting away from whatever I'm focused on the thing in front of me and I'm giving that up for a minute and let's just be a little bit more open-handed and free thinking. Do you
Mm.
experience that as I'm saying it?
I think I'm following you. Motorcycle is great for that, to get away
Oh,
from thinking. Did I follow
I
you correctly?
wouldn't
I'm
put
not
my thumb
sure.
on that. Is it does it feel I mean, does it feel adventurous
Oh, yeah.
when you're jumping on the bike?
Adventurous. A lot of freedom there on the bike.
It's interesting. You and I are going to meet. So I'm a one. I'm going to go to seven in security.
Hmm.
So sometimes, I mean, what the experiences that we might both have of sevenness may be similar. I'm going to think about that. Anyway, the low side of seven, which I would be, and this would be just worth naming. The low side of 7 is going to look like overconsumption. It's going to look like addictive behavior sometimes for 5s that can be paired with their own sense of meaninglessness. And that can be a rut. That can be an ugly little space to fall into.
Own sense of what? Meaninglessness?
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
some 5s and 9s both have and 4s can have a sense of meaninglessness about the world. What I see with 5s who are in bad shape is that might push them into very destructive 7ish kind of behavior that looks like overconsumption.
Mm.
And so just worth naming. I don't know if you see that in your behavior, but that would be something that can happen for 5s
Yeah,
is
the meaninglessness. I mean, I definitely felt that when I was going through the infertility, depression, that that good time in my life.
yeah.
Um, I don't think I overconsumed. I think I shut down big time.
Yeah.
I just shut down to conserve. Yeah, because I was depressed. Yeah.
Mm. That could you name whether or not in those spaces you were trying to solve the problem with your head or whether you were trying to just avoid the problem as much as you could physically?
Yeah. No, I was trying all the things to solve it.
Yeah.
I was seeing all the
I,
doctors, reading, researching, Dr.
yeah.
Google, friends. Yeah.
I, to be honest, I think that would be the thing. I think 9s in that space might just, mentally check out. I can't solve this problem, so I'm just going to divorce my mental energy from it. I would see
I
being a
mean,
9
yeah.
kind of
I mean, there was
reaction
a
for 5.
point where I did just like I was so exhausted. I mean, I went through
Yeah.
IVF, all the fertility treatments. It was exhausting. So there was a part of me, desperately wanted children. And there's part of me that was like, I am so exhausted. I just need to
Yeah.
stop.
Right.
And then, enter the motorcycle. So that was a great way to, redirect my thoughts and not
Mm-hmm.
have any thoughts other than staying alive on this piece of machinery between my legs. Talking
Yeah.
about a motorcycle, people. Yeah. Sorry. Just want to be clear.
I'm I'm keeping that. That's going in the podcast. The thing that I hear there is like where 9s when they get secure are going to be engaging their physicality and actually want other people to notice. What I'm hearing there is like is the 5 moving to 8 kind of thing that I would expect from you finding something where you feel very confident. You have learned about something that has power and you are able to wield that power in ways that's invigorating and attaching you to your physicality. That seems very 5ish to me in terms
Mm,
of in the best sense of you have a space where you're confident and getting to experience the fruit and joy of security, not all the time, but in these limited, spots like that.
mhm.
It just that feels
Yeah.
like what I would expect.
Could you describe that same move for 9, 2, 3?
So the nine is going to get into their body, but it's going to be in a way that they can present to others their how marvelous they are. They're going to move into that more 3 space,
Mhm.
and it's going to be about getting some attention at some level. So they have executed physically something that's praiseworthy, and they will delight in being seen in that space as the fruit, as the natural, joy that accompanies
Yeah.
that kind of move.
Yeah. I definitely feel that in my coaching business.
Okay. Is it because you're getting attention or is it because you are showing yourself to be competent
A little
at
both.
your craft?
Yeah, a little both. I mean, the competency piece is huge for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do want to be seen, recognized for being a thought leader. We're going to use it, we're going into thinking territory. So yeah, okay, we're there. But being a thought leader and, being being a mentor coach, a good coach, I, yeah, I want to be seen and recognized in that space. And when you're
Yeah.
talking about the move to 8, and this is here we go, finding my voice. Now, didn't always used to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever have to call customer service, you do not want to be on the other end of that line, because I
That's
will tell you what it's
yeah.
about and I don't want to hear it. It's like, what are you going to do for me? Okay, I don't care, Richard. What are you going to do? And it's like, I don't know
All right.
where that comes from, but I found it. And man, it feels good. It
Yeah.
feels good.
Does it hit you if I were to say the people in your life really care about meeting some of your needs? Like you have some real needs, and there's people in your life that love you. Does it bring you joy to know that they're there and can meet your needs? Do you know what I mean there?
I do. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah, because I don't think
yeah.
I allow them. I don't think I allow
You don't
them
allow
to.
them to.
Yeah. I mean, there's a real pride in in being self-sufficient, being independent, for sure. My parents have always been very supportive of whatever I do. I mean, God, their daughter became a musician and then like a hand model, and now she's doing this coaching thing. I mean, good God. Do you have health insurance? That's all we care about. But they have always been really supportive. My housemate, she's always there. And reaching out to people it's not something I think about. It's like, I can do this. I can do this on my own. My dad, my dad said I would have been a good farmer because I fix shit. If something's broke around the house, I fix it. If I can, I replace the motor on the washing machine. Figured out how to do it. Stuff like that. But yeah, the whole needs thing is interesting for sure.
I think that everything you said there is just a perfect place to kind of land because I haven't done this yet, but pushing into the heart's message for the types it can be over after a little bit of time a great way to kind of see type, and fives need to hear from others, from the universe, etc., that your needs aren't a problem,
Yeah.
and they need to know that, and that is a place of deep connection for the fives that are in our lives, of meeting them in that space. And so the fact that you get emotional on that front
Yeah.
is shows that that's part of your core.
Yeah. And I didn't always get emotional hearing that because I was like, what? What do you mean, my needs? My
Yeah.
needs, I don't know what that means. And, you know, I've been with the Enneagram for 5 years now, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe, yeah, maybe I do know what that means. So
Mm.
yeah. What is the heart's
Wow.
message for 9?
It's that your presence matters.
Oh yeah, my president. I know that. I know that. And what is it for 4?
Perfect. If that's a given. For four, it's that you are seen.
Yeah, see that one kind of hits as well. And I know a question for type 4s is like, do you notice what is missing? And it's like a lot of the time I do in my own life. Like I've worked hard to move past not having children, but yeah, being seen and heard, maybe that ties into like 4, 5s, and 9s wanting meaning in their life.
Mm.
Um,
I could I could see it's how the centers work in terms of how you're bringing in the world. Where you're bringing in fives are going to bring in the world into their headspace first and interpret it emotionally.
mhm.
Fours are going to take in the world through their emotional center and interpret it with their head. And that can make them very similar at one level. But because of this, fours, I heard almost zero language about comparison in your language. I heard
Mm,
almost zero language about, envy or retreating into yourself to really understand your emotional sense of things. If your language about your inner life was very analytic, and that would make
Mm.
more sense to me in terms of you're taking in the world through your head, and your emotions are something to be observed, as it
Yeah.
were. But
Okay.
being seen is still something we all want to be seen. And I could see that like kind of being part of still yourself and identity.
Mm.
Partially, the fiveness is going to be you love in terms of your vocation. It seems like you are loving people in the way you want to be loved, and that looks like you looking at them, seeing them, understanding them, and being able to create space for them to be seen and observed. And I imagine there would be something real valuable in your own life of, are there people in your world who actually take the time to notice who you are, to really look at and observe the quality that you bring to the world, to seeing your understanding and mastery of certain topics, and be able to speak over that in a way that matters. I imagine that. Am I saying things that connect with you there?
Mm. Yeah, no, that's beautifully said, and I appreciate that. I feel like once I how interesting, I'm using feeling language now. I feel that once I got into coaching and found my I feel like fellow coaches are my people, my tribe,
Mm-hmm.
and they see me. They
Yeah.
really see me, and they get it.
Do
Yeah.
you feel like they listen to you as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For those of us who love fives, that can be difficult, but fives will see who is it that really honors the insights I bring to the table, and that will be a place of connection.
Yeah. Yeah, and other coaches especially.
Yeah,
A couple people come to mind and they're just like it's like, "Oh, I can be myself," and like let it all out and you get it. You get me.
yeah.
And it's a beautiful place to be.
We are working. This is well. We'll see if this stays. If it does stay, then it'll be. Here's a nugget for the folks. We have a podcast that we're going to release similar to Mistyping Mondays. We're going to add another one with two coaches. Both of them are female fives, and the relationship between female fives is interesting because of exactly this. Like there's communication at that level of you know getting one another at those levels and caring for each other at those levels. And I just see it's interesting to me to see the connection that takes place
I'll be curious
in
to
that
hear
kind of
that.
sphere. So
Yeah, I'll be curious to hear that. I don't know any other female
so
fives. So, yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
off mic, I'll tell you some stuff.
Okay.
So to wrap up though, two things. I really wanted to give you this entire time. I've wanted to give two compliments. One, when we first got on the call prior to recording, you did this exactly for me in terms of saying, here's the things that I love and cherish about your podcast and the work that you do in the world. I felt seen. I felt like somebody valued what I brought. That is, comes out of this space. And to be frank, very few people in the world do that for me. And I'm very grateful
Mm.
for it. So, but secondly, you are the first person who is a 2, 5, or an 8 who has done this mistyping journey with me. I've done 40 of these conversations. We've cut. So sorry for those of you who we've cut. I haven't told you this yet, but I've had so many I can't use them all.
You're
And some of
cut.
you
You're
are all
cut.
this all some of you are just all the same type. I have been longing for a 2, 5, or 8 to show up. And here's the thing: 2s, 5s, and 8s all expect rejection in relationships.
Mm.
And 8s generally know that they're 8s. This is also a problem.
Yeah.
But your courage in moving into this space shows your quality. Like you can't buy that. Like I couldn't buy that. I couldn't ask. Like I could put this out on the podcast now and say, hey, if you're a 2 or 5, please, or an 8, and you're looking for your type and you don't know, please come. And I still won't get anyone. But the fact that you pursued us on this front really means a lot to me. And I think that shows, again, your character and quality more than anything else. So, anyway, sign off with two compliments there.
Yeah, I
Um,
appreciate that. And yeah, I mean it's good to be seen and you're an excellent interviewer and listener. So I appreciate the space you've created for me today.
thank,
And
Well, I
yeah, I'm
appreciate
surprised you don't have many twos because I get a lot of ones, twos, and sixes in my coaching sessions. A lot of twos.
who are,
A
who
lot
are
of twos.
mistyping.
Not mistyping, they just want coaching, and then we go through the Enneagram, and it's like, yes, two, okay.
Yeah.
And and they want to talk, so it's like, wow, I can't believe you don't have more of those. So yeah.
We may pivot. We may have to pivot here at some point because I do need to talk to more twos, fives, and eights.
Mm.
Just doing more coaching sessions as opposed to mistyping sessions.
Mhm.
Because I think that's it. It's that
Yeah.
perhaps it's the case that twos, fives, and eights just understand their numbers, or again, I suppose the story I have in my head is that they expect rejection in relationships, and so this may be a more difficult space for them to enter. So
Mm. Yeah, could
who
be.
knows?
Could be, could be.
Sandy, it was a delight meeting you.
You too,
If
Jeff.
folks, do you have any interest in folks connecting with you professionally? Would you
Sure.
like to plug something?
I would love to. I can be found at swansoncoaching.com. If you're a new coach, if you want to talk coaching, mentor coaching, I have a special space on my website for coaches.
Boom.
Swansoncoaching.com. Easy peasy.
Excellent.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Well, it's a delight meeting you, and I'm looking forward to connecting in the future. So
Yeah,
much love to
thank you,
you,
Jeff.
and cheering for you and all the things.
Thanks. Appreciate you.